Yo, what is going on YouTube? Welcome to the Detroit franchise rebuild. This is my first video, hopefully of many, and we're gonna dive right into this franchise rebuild. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell down below so you can get notified every time we post a new video. So let's get into it. Detroit Tigers. They are definitely going to be a tough rebuild. If you take a look at our rankings here on the right, we are ranked 28th in overall, 28th in pitching, 26th in defense, and 29th in power. That is really bad. And on this first episode, I want to take you through the Tigers, and we're going to take a look at what the team exactly looks like. So if you look at our scouting report for our positions, we are bloody red. We are almost dead last in a lot of these positions, and it's really bad. So this is going to be fun and challenging to rebuild this Detroit Tiger team and get them back to getting into the World Series, which this team has not won in a very long time. Let's take a look at our roster, shall we? And let's start overall. Matthew Boyd is our highest overall player at 82. He's a B potential, but he is 30 years old. This is a guy where I'm not too sure I want to build around. He is a piece in the rotation, but I don't know if he's someone I really want to keep going forward. His contract is up for arbitration at the end of this year, so we could keep him around depending on how he does. Jonathan Scope's an interesting player. I'm not a fan. 29 years old and 80 overall. He has some decent power. His fielding is good, but I don't know. He just doesn't strike me as the guy that I really want to play at second base. I feel like maybe we can get younger at the position and develop. Obviously, this is a rebuilding year. Wilson Ramos, who signed from the Mets to come play for Detroit. Another guy where I'm not too sure how I feel about. He is a lot older at 33. He is the best catcher that we definitely have. One of the best position players that we have, unfortunately. So he's got some decent hitting. So we'll build off of that. A guy I want to talk about is Miguel Cabrera. This guy is a Detroit legend. And if we look at his stats back in 2008 when he joined the Tigers, this man batted over 300 almost every year, had over 30 home runs every year, and including the World Series year here, 2012, 44 home runs back-to-back years. This guy had over 100 RBIs until he started to decline. Some injuries held him back. 2016 was his last really good year, and then he fell apart and has not been the same since. In the COVID season last year, he only hit 10 home runs in 204 at bats, batting .250. Now the thing about Miguel Cabrera that's going to be really tough and we need to make a decision on is if we're keeping him. $31 million for a guy who's 37 years old at 75 overall and only declining at first base. That's a lot of money. I don't think I want to be tied down to that kind of contract. And he's great against lefty. He's great at contact, but he doesn't have that power anymore. He doesn't have that oomph. His fielding's gone down. He has no speed. The man's almost 40 years old. So I definitely want to get this team a lot younger. And where our team thrives with the youth right now is probably our pitching staff. Although we have Matthew Boyd, Spencer Turnbull, who is 28, he is relatively still young in the league. And he can still get better. I think we're approaching prime with him. Casey Mize, who was a first overall draft pick just a couple years ago, developing, getting better. He's a 69 overall right now with A potential. He's only 22 years old. Another guy we need to look at and probably going to be our fifth starter in the rotation. I feel like we should just get him swinging out in there already is Matt Manning. Matt Manning has the stamina to go. His numbers aren't great, his hits per 9, but you gotta get him in the field, get him going. Alex Fideo is another guy who was a high draft pick not too long ago, but hasn't panned out quite well. So he's someone we're gonna look out for in the AAA scene and see how he can develop. And that's some of our pitching. Now our other starters on the team, it's not great. Definitely D potentials here is not what I want on this team. Something we need to look at and probably change. Another pitcher that we should keep a close eye out for here in our bullpen, which is not good at all, is Joe Jimenez. Joe Jimenez actually is only 26, 69 overall with B potential. Has a chance to really blossom into something really good. In his 2 full seasons, he played in about 60 some games. His ERA was about a 4.3, not too bad. His win losses weren't crazy. He had about 9 saves. He was, they had him all over the place that year, exploring him in that bullpen. So he's someone I think we should definitely keep an eye out, and hopefully we see develop. And Tarek Screwball, this is a guy who, again, a high draft pick, 24 years old, 64 overall with an A potential. I think this guy can definitely see some improvement, and maybe he's a starter. If anything, maybe this guy's a starter and not a bullpen arm. But if we can get some of his numbers up and his attributes going, and maybe we can make this guy into a starter, then he will be in a bullpen. But definitely our pitching staff is not good. When we look at position players, again, Wilson Ramos is one we touched on. Jake Rogers is his backup catcher at the moment. We got Renato Nunez here at first base, who's got power, and I really love the power on this kid. And that's something I might take a look at. In his past, he's hit 31 home runs with Baltimore 1 year in 2019, but that's really his career high. Is a big number there at 244 average though. But definitely someone who can maybe take the spot of Miguel Cabrera in the meantime. Not too much here happening at second base besides Jonathan Scope. Definitely a position we need to take a look at. Third baseman is not too bad. We have a pretty solid 3-man crew here, and our first overall draft pick just a year prior is going to be the main focus. This is a guy we need to get into the majors, and we need to see him start swinging bombs right away. I'm really looking forward to playing with this guy and seeing him develop, and maybe we can move Jameer around to first base, and as Spencer comes into third, something to look out for. Willie Castro is another player that I'm really excited about. I think he has potential to improve drastically. He's only 23 years old, already had a 73 overall and B potential. He hit 349 last year in the COVID year in 36 games, so he played about half the season, but put up some decent numbers in that time with 129 at-bats. Definitely improved from the year prior, which almost has the same amount of games and at-bats. So Willie Castro is a guy to look out for. He's got the hitting stats I'd like, but Nico Goodrum's got the defense too as well, and some speed on him. He's good against lefties, so maybe he'll be in our lefty designated shortstop in that time. Some potential here in the outfield with Bryant Packard, if I said that correctly. No power on this kid, but he's got defense, and that's important, especially in the outfield. We need to have some solid defense. His hitting can improve. We can work on that. Akil Badu is another kid who, fresh out the gate, 22 years old, got the defense and some speed on him. His hitting is not that far off. He can definitely see a starting role at center field. I think he's going to have to. Riley Green is, though, another high draft pick from recent years past. Another kid we should look out for to see take the ranks into the outfield somewhere. He's definitely someone who can play any of the outfield positions, like right field, which Victor Reyes is my interesting player here. Again, no power on this kid, but he's got the defense, speed, and he can hit for contact at the very least. He batted a 277 and a 304 in 2 years past, his career high. Not a power hitter though, not too many RBIs, but if he can get on base, that is the goal. That's pretty much our roster, our AAA and our prospects. We have 3 of the top 20 prospects in the league. So definitely we want to work on bringing those guys into the league right away and getting them, just start progressing them and start seeing some improvements. Now, as far as trading goes, like I said, Miguel Cabrera is someone that I really want to look at and figure out what we're going to do. Some players here in the free agent pools. We have Cole Helms, who's someone that maybe we can pick up. He is 37 years old on a 1-year deal just to get some solid rotation in there. Oliver Perez, another really old arm, into the bullpen, possibly. I doubt it though. But Yasiel Puig is one that intrigues me. I've always been a Yasiel Puig fan, and he's got defense, speed, arm strength, and he can hit for power. He's 30 years old now, but at a 78 overall and a B potential, I don't see why we shouldn't sign Yasiel Puig, get some depth into the outfield, because we don't know how quickly Riley Green can get in there. Now, Edwin Encarnacion, if I said that correctly, is another guy who's interesting. Maybe we can sign this guy to be our power DH. He can just hit the ball out of the park when we need him to. Doesn't need to play the field. He's 38 years old. His defense and his speed definitely has declined, but definitely a guy who can hit home runs. With the Yankees in 2019, it was his last big season. He hit about 30 home runs, and he's averaged that ever since 2012. This guy can hit bombs. His average is not the greatest. Definitely last year took a step back at 157, but definitely maybe two players that we should look out for and maybe add to the team, just to give us some depth, some power, and some options to play. And Yoenis Cespedes is another option of that. Again, power guys, hit bombs before with New York. Has a big decline in the last 2 years though. So these are all guys we're looking at. Maybe we can sign for a 1-year deal, get in here and help us develop this team and figure out the direction that we really want to go. But overall, that is the roster, that is the team. And then we take a look at our first series of the year. It's going to be against the Cleveland Indians and against Shane Bieber, and it's definitely going to be a tough game, as you see the year prior records. So let me know what you guys think, if you're excited. In the next episode, we will be playing this series against the Indians, and we'll see how this Detroit team starts off. We're definitely not going to make any trades or do any sudden moves just yet. We'll definitely wait and see how this team fills out first before we go on with any transactions. We'll definitely get our scouting reports done and see where we're going to pick in the draft coming up here in the next couple months in June. But I really look forward for you guys letting me know down below with the feedback, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this first episode of getting to know the Detroit Tigers. And until next time, see you guys.